The film starts, and we see a little boy named Connor, who is sleeping peacefully in his house. And then he realized that there is a very big tree outside my house, which has a church on the other side. Suddenly, strong winds started blowing. There were cracks in the church, it started breaking, and as soon as he saw it, he started crashing into the ground. There was a woman standing next to the church, who started going down with him. Connor held her hand and was trying to save her. At the same time, he was crying, but Connor could not save him and he fell down. Now he suddenly got scared and opened his eyes. That is, he was just dreaming. But Connor could not believe that I had seen this dream because it seemed to be true. Now it was morning. Connor gets up and gets ready to go to school. We found out that he lives with his sick mother, who is in a very bad condition. That's why Connor has to do all the housework, after which he went to school. Now there was a bully boy in the school who often bothered Connor, but that poor boy, as always, ignores him and comes home. In the evening, Connor spends time with his mother, and they start watching old movies on his grandfather's projector, in which a man is falling down from a tower. See, Connor remembered his dream, that is when the church was breaking and a woman was falling down from there. So he thinks, why not make this dream on paper? Which he remembers by thinking, he starts drawing. As Connor was drawing, the ground outside his house, which was a big tree near the church, started bursting. And from below, a very big monster tears the ground and comes out, which was moving towards Connor. And as the clock is 12 o'clock 7 minutes, he comes near the window of Connor and starts calling him. See, Connor got very scared and tries to hide here and there, but the monster picks him up in his hands and brings him to himself and says, "Don't be afraid of me. I want to be friends with you and tell you stories." Listen, Connor says no, because you are a monster, so I can neither be friends with you nor listen to stories. Now the monster got angry hearing this. It looks like a large orange color inside it, as if he had turned red out of anger, and opens his big mouth. But before he finishes Connor, the next moment he finds himself on the table where he was sitting and drawing. He thinks that this will be my thought, and because he was very scared, he goes to his mom and sleeps. The next day, when Connor was going to school, his eyes went to the same big tree. He started looking at the tree very carefully, but he goes to school from there. When he came home from school, he sees his grandmother in the house, but he was not very happy to find him here. Connor's grandmother tells him to go to her house with her, but he clearly refuses, about which they argue. Connor went to sleep, but then he again dreams of breaking the church, and he wakes up from sleep again in fear. When he saw the time, it was still 12 o'clock 7 minutes, where once again the monster came out of the ground next to the tree and stood next to Connor. This time, the monster does not hold him directly in his hands, but holds him lovingly in his arms. And instead of getting angry, he requests him and says that please do not be friends with me, but at least listen to the stories, where this time Connor was also ready to listen to his stories. And then the monster tells him the stories of the king, queen, and their children. Many years ago, the king, queen, and their children lived in a big palace. They were living a very luxurious life and very happy. And one day, some bad people attacked here, in which the queen and her children died. Only the king and his one grandson were left alive. The king loved his grandson very much and took care of him. Then one day, the king got married again. Now the new queen was a very evil, bad, and greedy woman. She tried to kill the king, but always failed. But then one day, due to the king's age, he died. The king's second wife, the evil queen, takes over the kingdom, and she makes the excuse that the prince is not yet so big that he can handle the throne. That's why I will take care of the kingdom. Now the king's grandson, the prince, was very angry with this, and he left his palace and went to the village and started living there, where he told everyone the truth about the queen, that he has taken over the kingdom, although I am the rightful owner of the throne. Then the villagers took help of this monster, and they attacked the queen and defeated her, because of which the prince gets his place back. And this story will end here. After listening to the story, Connor asks the monster who was bad in this story. The monster says that there was no evil in it. A person becomes good or bad because of his work. Now it is up to the person which way he chooses, of goodness or of evil. Connor tells the monster that I don't want to live with my grandmother. What should I do? How do I escape from her? The monster says that you don't have a problem with your grandmother. In fact, you need to escape from someone else. Now the monster's time is over, and he goes back when Connor also comes to his house. The next day after returning from school, Connor sees that his mother is in a very bad condition. She tells him that, my son, the treatment I am getting is not working on me. So for a new treatment, I will have to go to the hospital now. Connor is very sad to hear this. Then his mother tells him that, son, when I will not live, you will have to live with your grandmother. And yes, son, don't bother her and listen to everything she says. Now he agreed to what his mother said, and he goes to live with his grandmother. The doorbell rang. When he went to check, his dad came, seeing whom he was very happy, and he goes to the park with him. When he went to eat, Connor tells his dad, Dad, I want to live with you, not with my grandmother. On this, his dad says, son, I will keep you with me, but not now. I also want to take you. But the situation is very bad now. For now, you will have to live with your grandmother. And then she leaves Connor outside her grandmother's house. And he also goes inside sad. Now tonight, as soon as it is 12 o'clock 7 minutes, the monster again came to meet Connor. And he tells him another story. That many years ago, there used to be a father in a village. Now there was also a doctor who used to make medicines from herbs, and any disease could be cured by his treatment. One day, the doctor went to a magical tree, so that he could take the herbs of that tree to make medicine. But the father also comes there, and he is forbidden to take anything from the tree, because of which the doctor has to return empty-handed. But one day, the father's 2 daughters became very sick, and no treatment was affecting them. That's why the father took him to the doctor, and he begs him a lot and says, please help me. Make medicine from that tree and give it to my children, so that their disease can also be cured, which is not being cured by any treatment. But the doctor forbids the father that he is sleeping. I can't help you in this, because many people died because of the father. And then we see that this monster is breaking the whole house of that father. Standing next to him, Connor also sees this and starts breaking that house. But the next moment he finds himself in the house and sees that in anger he did not break the house of the father. In fact, he has broken all the things of his grandfather and grandmother. Now after a while, the grandmother comes home. She also sees this action of Connor. She is surprised, but she does not get angry at her, and neither does she punish, because she also realized that Connor is going through a very difficult time, where she knows that my mother has a life-threatening disease, and she is not going to be alive for a long time. Leave her forever. Now the next day, Connor went to meet his mother in the hospital. He sees that his mother's condition has worsened even more. When his mother tells him that, son, this new treatment is also not affecting me, because of which Connor becomes very sad. And when the monster came to meet him at night, then Connor tells him that, please cure my mother. But the monster says that, sorry, but I can't help you in this. When he is sad, he comes back home. The next day when Connor went to school, then the same bad boy tells him that he will not bother Connor in the future. Not because he has improved, but because Connor is not seen much, although he used to come to school. Now in the afternoon, the monster comes to school, which was only visible to Connor. The monster now tells him the story of an invisible man. Invisible means what is there, but it is not visible. The monster says that he was not invisible because he was invisible. He was not visible, but it was because people ignored him and ignored him. Now listening to this, Connor remembers the bad boy's words, that now Connor is not seen much in school. He thinks that this means he made me invisible. He gets angry and attacks the bad boy and starts hitting him. He did this with the help of the monster. The bad boy gets a lot of injuries, so much that he is admitted to the hospital. But after this incident, all the children of the school started knowing Connor. He ran to the tree, that is, to the monster, and he calls him and says that, come in front of me, help me, cure my mother, because I know you can do this. The next moment the monster comes there, and he says to Connor that I came to cure you. I can't cure your mother. Hearing this, Connor got angry. the monster tells him that all this I am doing is necessary for you, and I can't do anything that can cure your mother. Now Connor starts screaming and screaming loudly. Then the monster brings his dream in front of him. That is, fast winds started blowing, and as soon as he sees, the church starts breaking down. Now the woman standing next to the church, who starts slipping and falling, was Connor's mother. Connor ran to save her, holds her hand. He tries to pull her up, but he can't escape, because that's when his mother was killed because of slipping. Seeing this, Connor was sad, but he was also very surprised. Then the monster came to him and said, "Connor, now you tell the next story." Now first, Connor doesn't say anything, he stays quiet. But when the monster started getting angry at him, he starts telling his story. He says that I have always seen my mother in pain. I love her so much that I can't see her pain. I always prayed carefully that she would reduce my mother's pain, and I was hoping that she would get better. Now the monster tells him, "But you have to accept your mother's condition." Connor says he can't do it, because in every dream I try to save my mother. At the same time, I am very sure that her illness will be cured. Hearing this, the monster says, "But this is not your whole truth. You may pray for your mother, try to save her. But somewhere, you are also tired of seeing your mother's condition. You are tired of taking care of her. That's why you often get angry at her, and you want her pain to be cured. But not so that she stays alive, but so that she goes to God. Because you can't take care of her alone." When crying, Connor also agrees that yes, you are right. I have thought this many times, but in reality, I never wanted to do this. Then the monster says that you will have to accept this bitter truth now. You are stopping him again and again, and now you have to let him go. You do this, that's why your condition is like this. After which we come to know the meaning of those 3 stories. In the first story, the prince becomes a good king even if he is bad, and takes good care of his people. In the second story, the doctor was greedy, but he helped people, and he was a much better person than his father. And in the third story, the invisible man was alone by making everyone feel his presence. So somewhere, all 3 stories were also connected to Connor. Then the monster tells Connor that you have been running away from the truth so far. But after explaining everything, the difference is that you accept the truth so soon. Now with all these things, Connor also gets very upset. That's why he sleeps there at night. At night, the grandmother came to the tree looking for him. Finding him sleeping there, she wakes Connor up and takes him to the hospital, where the relationship between the two also starts to get better. Connor started getting along with his grandmother. Then when he reached the hospital, Connor met his mother for the last time. He says goodbye to her nicely, after which she leaves this world. Then after a lot of days, when things became normal, his grandmother shows Connor his mother's old room, which now he had got ready for Connor. When he went to the room, he found his mother's old diary, in which the drawings of all 3 stories were made. Moreover, his mother had also made the drawings of this monster. That is, when he was a small child, he also used to see this monster, and she was sitting on his shoulder. Now from here we know that the monster that Connor used to see in the whole movie was just his imagination. That is, his imagination, which only ran in Connor's mind and no one could see it, because he was not in the real world. And that monster came in his imagination and was trying to explain to him about his mother's death, so that he can quickly accept the bitter truth that his mother is going to leave him forever. That's why the monster was telling him that I have come to cure you, because Connor could never think that my mother could go away from me. He just thought that my mother's pain should go away because he was tired. But the monster was making him capable of facing the truth by showing him his mother's thoughts and dreams. Now his mother had left this world, but Connor was ashamed of the fact that why did I think that my mother should be loved by God? Why did I get tired of taking care of him? But the monster explains to him that it is the desire of every person that his pain should end, so you shouldn't be ashamed of it.